Hi, my name is Aila. I reside in the border country of BC. I became a member of the HeartQuest community a few months ago, and I just recently completed WarriorQuest, which is an initiation into my most empowered self that I could be. I've been working with Sonico for the last few months, and I'm really grateful for his presence, his genuine care, and all of the spiritual support that he has offered, and for making this support so available to anyone who's ready to embark on their journey. It's right there waiting, and all of us here at HeartQuest are ready to receive you. I would say I was a person that had an idea of who they wanted to be and who I could be. I had really good intentions. Unfortunately, I was caught in disempowering patterns, and those patterns kept derailing me from actually becoming the person that I know I can be. So I was stuck in patterns of fear. I didn't have a lot of confidence. I felt like every time I took a step forward, I was actually falling backwards a couple of steps and I was crashing. And to be honest, my sense of self-worth and my self-esteem were really suffering. I was feeling really low on myself, and I felt like I was in this pit that I just couldn't get out of. So I was in a pretty dark place, to be honest with you. I could see the light coming in, through that pit, but I didn't know how to get out of it. I was looking for help in all the wrong places. I had been sort of following the visionary tribe for quite a few years. I was acquainted with you, and I guess what drew me in was, first of all, the concepts of what are taught in HeartQuest really resonated with me. They always had. And that's why I kept sort of reading the emails and keeping a little bit of a connection there. Secondly, I saw who you are as a person, how you show up. You are a person of vision, and you have passion, and you have a very strong sense of mission, and you're consistent. You worked really, really hard, yet easefully, at creating this community. And that is what drew me in, because I wanted to surround myself with people who have integrity. I would say having a change of mindset, really becoming discerning about where I'm placing my focus and where my energy and my attention are flowing to. That was probably one of the bigger shifts that happened to me. I was really dominated by chronic pain. I've been in chronic pain like my whole life, pretty much. I was suffering from a really sensitized nervous system. And so that was dictating my experience. But once I decided that I was no longer going to allow that to dictate my experience and dominate my attention, that's when things really transformed for me. And how that came about was through the shamanic dreaming, because I got to see myself through a new lens. I got to see myself as the empowered version of me and who I'm becoming. And that's what helped me to make the shift. There were a lot, actually, but I'll just name a couple here. So, first of all, being able to see through the lens of the archetypes is incredibly helpful, because it really helped me to identify how I was showing up as a victim, as a rescuer or a savior, and as an executioner. So, someone who was really critical and harsh with themselves. And when you're that way with yourself, you end up being that way with others too. So, first of all, using those archetypes as a lens, and then engaging in rituals to sever myself from the patterns that were draining me. that were draining my energy and leaving me in a state of fear. And so there were actual rituals where I got to sever those threads. And that helped me click into the empowering archetypes, being able to actually view myself and step into the powerful archetypes of the priestess, the warrior, the merchant, and the magician. That is what helped me to experience myself in a different way. And that's what made the shift for me into more empowered patterns and ways of being. I would say the ceremonies, the shamanic rituals were really powerful for me because I am a really imaginative person, and it is practical to be able to access your imagination because that's what connects you to your inner intuition and your wisdom and your courage. And that's what I needed. I just needed to feel myself embodying those qualities in order to shed the old skin that was holding me back from seeing myself in a new way. Before I did WarriorQuest, I was standing on the outside of my medicine wheel. So I was on the peripheral looking in, and I couldn't get into it. So what changed for me and the way I'm different now is I'm standing in the center of my medicine wheel, and I'm coming from a true place of alignment and attunement with spirit and discernment. And I really needed to develop that quality of discernment to see that the patterns I was in was keeping me from attuning to my higher self. And now I can see it. I can see when something approaches me and wants to get into my circle, I can actually be like, no, that doesn't belong there. And I can make really responsible choices about how I manage my energy. Something that's been really helpful for me too is the principle of Aini, of sacred reciprocity. The universe really is a mirror for us. What we give, we get back. And so I'm very discerning now about how I use my energy. You know, those in themselves are huge and they're very practical. I feel very much like my spirit and my relationship with self is my number one priority, because without that, I really can't be of service to anyone. And that is what my heart wants. I really want to be able to use my gifts in service of helping to awaken collective consciousness and to be in higher states of consciousness and to sustain those states. So that is how I've changed. And it really didn't take that long. I just needed the right tools and the right practices and the right encouragement and to be attuned. I would say the meeting my horse ally. So going on the shamanic journey where I got to ride that horse into the landscape of my choosing. And at the end of that, I met my future self, the woman that I am becoming. And that was my favorite moment because I really got to embrace myself and see myself for the first time in my fullness. That vision will stay with me forever and it will continue to guide me. That was magical. If your intuition has led you to this community, listen to it. You obviously resonate and you're ready. And the only thing stopping you is fear. And with the right people around you and the right energy, and you saying yes to you and your relationship with yourself, which is the most important relationship you'll ever have in your entire life, say yes. Please do that because we need you. We actually need what you have to offer, and this world needs you. Believe in yourself. WarriorQuest for me is standing in the center of my power, connecting with my highest self, and living my passion, my purpose, my mission, and my vision to my fullest capacity.